Hello everyone and welcome to Facebook Connect. I know things are a little bit different this year, but I hope that we can still have a fun conference and a little bit of extra fun along the way, no matter where you're tuning in from. Today we'll be talking about new ways to prepare, promote, and monetize your app. My name is Giselle Gomez and I work on the developer support team here at Oculus. My day-to-day job is to support developers who are not so different from all of you and making their development dreams a reality, whatever those dreams might be. I'll be chatting with all of you about the importance of preparing your VR experience for release by curating a diverse cast of gameplay testers. You'll also be hearing from two of my colleagues who work in other areas of Oculus about promoting, monetize, and monetizing your apps. Greg Smith and Mrc Apis. Whether this is your first app or you're a seasoned veteran, first impressions matter. The first few moments of your experience can make or break the immersion process for a player, making it absolutely imperative for a user to know in their heart of hearts that they belong in this world that you have created for them. Curating your test group means being deliberate about who you ask to play your app and provide feedback. It means going out of your inner circle of friends, family members, and colleagues to create a diverse cast of playtesters to hear from. Making sure your playtest group includes folks who do not look, speak, or think like you fosters an environment of inclusivity and ensures you create a more representative final product. Now let's consider a scenario, one that I have personally experienced many times. I open up my computer, I log into a new game that I just purchased, and I'm presented with my number one most stressful part of any game, creating my avatar. It's stressful because I want it to be perfect. She will look like me, have all of my own favorite features. I will be a character in this world. I already know what I want. Like I said, my avatar will be me, but obviously cuter because everything is cuter when it's animated, and maybe with a fun hair color that I'm not really ready to commit to IRL. However, when I go into the available features, skin tone, eye shape, hair texture, and nose, I can't find anything that is just right. I instantly have to settle, and my avatar now looks nothing like me. There's nothing that can make you feel less wanted than an experience that hasn't even considered you as a player. Developing with inclusivity-forward mindset can help set you up to succeed in making every player of your app feel like the intended audience. Thinking of your audience with as much anticipation about their wants, needs, and expectations helps ensure that all users engage with your content and feel welcomed. When expectations and reality don't align, a whole litany of problems can arise. Folks may not be able to play an app due to missing accessibility considerations. Users may feel alienated without character representation or options for accessibility. And an app might receive negative feedback and requests for refunds. Additionally, users who leave an experience altogether or have a negative experience may not have trust in a developer moving forward, and will share that negative experience with friends and family members, impacting future audience potential. To cast your net as wide as possible and make space for a variety of folks, there are a few categories to consider: diversity, inclusivity, and accessibility. One thing to remember when looking at inclusivity-forward design is that inclusivity exists on a spectrum. Implementing a few solutions will not be enough to fulfill the needs for every person, and there is always more that can be done. Many of these changes are non-trivial to implement, so make sure you create with inclusivity guidelines in mind and start asking and receiving feedback with enough lead time to make necessary modifications. Additionally, keep asking for feedback. One iteration of gameplay testing is not and will not be enough. When you've designed with inclusivity in mind, it's important to remember that making changes to include folks who will interact with your experience differently, such as without lower body movement, using one controller, or playing without sound, it's not enough to implement a change and not consider what the overall experience will feel like. An experience without sound, with only one controller, and at a different height, should feel the same as the core experience. Some things to consider as you begin developing are: characters should draw from a diverse cast and not be one skin tone, one age group, one body type, or lean towards one cultural or ethnic group. Do not assume the experiences of your users or expect them to connect or identify with certain cultural jokes, references, or remarks. Not all users will be from your country of origin, and may not understand certain hand signals, music, jokes, etc. If you're going to use avatars, try to be as broad as possible. Include sliders for skin tone, hair, eyes, body. Give as many possible presets for body characteristics or pre-made avatars. Additionally, avoid derogatory terms or language. If using names, include that user's name in the dialogue. Consider how your user might experience or play through your app. Are they sitting? Are they standing? Maybe laying down, shorter, taller. Add captions to dialogue wherever possible and mute options. Don't rely on one color alone to signify the importance of items. Use a large, legible font. Provide high contrast options. Make it possible to start the experience without too many menus and use clear and concise language. Make it possible to play the experience without speaking. If it is a multiplayer game, make it possible to queue up without having to speak or have groups where microphone use is not a required preference. This list is not exhaustive, and I have included a handful of resources at the end of my section that will open the door for further design considerations. Now, the true question is where to start. I made this big and bold for a reason. The 100% most important thing I can say is representation matters. I cannot stress this enough. Do not make it an afterthought. Get early and often feedback. Do not wait until you have released your experience to ask for feedback, or even a week before. As soon as you can ask for it, do it. If you have character design, questions about what to add, where to create additional assets, no consideration is too big or too small. There are multiple networks and groups to reach out to for help. Take advantage of these resources. I've included some of these, but there are many more that exist. Give yourself time to make changes. Many of them are non-trivial to implement, such as captions, mobility changes, additional assets for representative characters, and additional dialogue or changes to dialogue. Receiving feedback will take more than a week. Build that lead time. Some of that lead time is just for the requirement to submit a project and wait for first-hand recommendations. When in doubt, use a design guideline to build out your VR experiences from start to finish. So where are these references that I keep bringing up time and time again? These are some of the networks, charities, groups, guidelines, resources that you can lean on for first-hand experience and first-hand feedback to begin your development process, but also to come back to as you progress. As I said before, this list is not exhaustive. There are so many more networks and groups to reach out to. You'll see in my slide that I've provided notes on each listed resource to help determine where you can find programs that take in game submissions and will provide feedback, although some of these are a little less formal. Some of the ones that I've included are Able Gamers Charity, a Game Accessibility Guidelines link, Women in AR/VR and AR/VR Women and Allies, both of which can be found on Facebook, and Game Devs of Color Expo. Thank you for joining me today, and now I will pass it off to Greg Smith to talk about promoting your app once you've finished preparing it for release.
Thanks, Giselle. So now that we've spent some time talking about how to prepare your game, we're going to spend some time talking about how you can promote your game. We'll start by talking about how mixed reality capture can help you introduce new users to your gamer experience and help them understand how they fit into the action. So mixed reality capture was introduced last year at Oculus Connect for Quest, enabling games or experiences to create video of a real user superimposed in their VR world. Since its introduction, top games like Beat Saber, Super Hot, and many others have integrated it into their games. These games and experiences have used MRC in everything from game trailers to influencer videos to major live broadcasts, all using our MRC Creator and Capture tool for Quest and PC VR. So for this conversation, I'd actually like to focus on the trailers. We will cover influencers in a separate talk called Enabling Influencers and Sharing. So what we're going to do now is going to check out a trailer from Racket NX that was created this past spring. Let's check it out.
Ready? Let's go. What the? Outstanding.
All right, pretty awesome, right? So for this particular game, we actually used it in an experiment in our store, comparing this trailer that you saw to a similar but non-mixed reality capture trailer. And in our initial experiments between May and June 2020, Racket NX saw an 18.9% purchase uplift when showing the MRC trailer as opposed to an identical but non-MRC trailer. That's pretty awesome, right? And what we've also observed is that mixed reality capture tends to work very, very effectively in games that are more physical, and it really helps show how users can be immersed in your game. Let's actually talk about how you can specifically use MRC in your gamer experience. So the first is integrating against the Mrc APIs. Now, these are available for Unity and Unreal 4 integrations, as well as our native SDK for Oculus Quest. We also support this for PC VR as well. Now, in this, you're going to be spinning up a second camera in the scene, which is what allows us to capture that mixed reality angle. And what we've done with this is we've actually optimized it to really minimize any potential performance trade-offs in your game. Now, to make things a little bit easier, this holiday, we're going to be adding a new capability, which on Quest will enable you to have GPU boosting for Unity and Unreal 4 integrated games while MRC is active. And we'll be adding support for native SDKs in 2021. And if you want to get more information about this, I would highly encourage you to check out our documentation on the Oculus developer site. Now, let's say you have your game integrated. Let's talk about how you can create that amazing trailer that you saw beforehand. So when filming a trailer, you'll want to make sure that you intersperse mixed reality capture and first-person shots together because it's important to our users and your users that they can see what the gameplay is like and how they'll experience it themselves. So seeing how they'll appear in the game and then what they'll experience themselves. Additionally, if your game uses controller-based locomotion, it's really, really important to be thoughtful about your framing and your composition because we don't want to get an effect where it looks like the actor is skating across the floor like they're on an ice rink. I guess as an alternative, you could put roller skates on your actors, but I really wouldn't recommend that. Better framing and composition is really, really important. Now, the next step too is to actually set yourself up for the shot. So in this case, you're going to use our Mrc Calibration Tool, which is downloadable from creator.oculus.com/MRC. And all you need, if you're doing this yourself, is a reasonably powerful PC, a decent camera, and a well-lit green screen. That said, if you're able to film in a broader space like a studio, it definitely gives you a better opportunity to, one, let your performers move around, but also to really capture the grandeur of your world. Additionally, if you have access to different lenses, definitely take advantage of wide-angle shots to really capture the scope of your world, and then more tight-angle shots so you can capture the emotion of the player who is in the game or experience themselves. And the great news is, this calibration tool is available for free on creator.oculus.com/MRC, and it supports Quest, Quest 2, and PC VR with Quest and Quest 2 Plus Link, as well as Rift S. And we actually use this tool for the trailer that you saw before, so it's production ready. Thank you so much for listening. Again, if you want to get started, hop on creator.oculus.com/MRC. And I look forward to seeing the trailers and other content that you create. So now, I'm going to turn things over to Raisa Aziz to talk about additional ways to promote your game.
Thanks, Greg. And hi, everyone. My name is Raisa, and I'm the product manager on the Oculus Store. As we just heard from Greg, immersing your users in your VR experience really goes a long way as a sales pitch. It shouldn't be news to any of you that the real magic of VR is that feeling of being present, but somewhere else. And as a store team, we've really been thinking about this concept and trying to imagine ways that we can use more immersion within the store experience. And so one of the experiences I'd like to give you a sneak peek for today is the one you can see here. Here, we're using multiple cylindrical layers with 2D assets in the shell to really bring the app's characters and scenes to life. Despite being only static 2D images, using the space in this way really makes the environment feel more engaging and help users feel more immersed in what your app has to offer. We've mocked it up here on a product detail page, but you can imagine the same for a store promotion. And when used as a store promotion, from early tests, we've seen that this could drive up to 18% increase in app sales. Not bad. We're still working on this, and like I say, it's a sneak early peek, but we'll get more details out to you soon as to how and when you can use this. So far, we've been talking a lot about how to promote your apps within the Oculus ecosystem. But obviously, you'll also need to promote your apps outside of the Oculus ecosystem. And for that, I have a really exciting tool to talk to you about that should really help amp up your efforts. Using this tool, you'll be able to promote anywhere and track your conversions right here. The tool is called the Marketing Attribution Dashboard, and its genesis was really from talking to you. We heard from a lot of you that understanding the return on investment for your marketing campaigns was a really long-standing pain point, as was understanding where exactly your audience is so that you can engage with them and really get them amped for your VR experiences. Thinking about all of these in the void of any data can be really tricky and particularly confusing as you think about where to assign your attention and your marketing budgets. And so earlier this year, we launched the Marketing Attribution Dashboard to all Quest developers. And it enables you to track conversions for anything with a UTM parameter. Using this tool, you can track conversions and return on investment for efforts such as ad campaigns, social media, influencer links, SEO efforts, and also just anywhere in a forum where you might be talking and referencing to your app. Anything with a UTM parameter, we can track it. By tracking click-throughs from things like forums, I think it's also a really interesting insight into where your audience is and where they're engaging with you. And that can be really helpful as you think about where to focus your ongoing user engagement with your crowd. You can access this today at developers.oculus.com, and you will never be flying blind on promoting your apps outside of the Oculus ecosystem again. Okay, so we've learned about ways to promote using immersion within the ecosystem. We've also talked a little bit about how to track and really optimize your off-platform promotions. And now, just to wrap us up, I'd like to move on to my personal favorite topic, and that is monetization. We've got some really exciting announcements for you here. First up, coming in early 2021, you'll be able to distribute and monetize via a completely new release channel. We heard from many of you that you had a need to distribute your apps outside of the store, and that was from 3DOF developers seeking some distribution on 6DOF devices, or even 6DOF developers just seeking to iterate on their game design. We heard you, and we are super excited to announce that we are working on a new release channel that will not require store approval. The apps that you distribute through this channel can be free or paid. So whether you're just testing a concept or you have something that you feel really good about that you want to get out into the world, we've got you. For the folks who wanted a route to be able to test apps, completely agree that getting as much user feedback as possible is so key to a great final product. And for that, we want you to know that this channel will have higher install limits and less restrictions than the current alpha beta channels that you use to test in-house. Discovery of these apps will be completely in your control and per your needs. You'll get keys should you choose a more controlled distribution mechanism, but each app will also have its own URL that you can promote from anywhere, putting you completely in control of the distribution. Here's a mock-up of how that might look. And you can see here, a user is scrolling through their Facebook feed. They find a post that's from you, the developer, and you've linked to this application that you've distributed through this new channel. They click the link, they go straight through to the product detail page where they can check out all of the trailers and the information you've provided them, make a confident purchase or install determination, and the next time they're in the headset, it'll be right there ready for them to go. It's really going to be that simple. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about something that's off of the store, but I can hear a lot of you guys who are in the store thinking, well, what about new ways to monetize in the Oculus store? And for that, I am thrilled to announce that coming in 2021, we will be enabling you to monetize in VR in a whole new way via subscriptions. You'll be able to create subscriptions for your app, one per app to start. And these subscriptions will unlock completely new possibilities for your applications in terms of how you monetize and also how you think about your content. We are super excited to see how your business models evolve and how your content evolves using subscriptions as a model. To start, we'll be enabling monthly recurring subscriptions, enabling you to create these recurring revenue streams by providing your users with high quality and engaging content month on month. We know that users like to try before they buy, especially with a commitment like subscriptions. And so, of course, you will be able to give your users a free trial period before they flip onto a subscription. Over time, we'll incorporate more features that you'll need, such as different tiers or discounts for different fixed terms. But to start, we're starting with a monthly recurring system for you. We also want to put you completely in the driving seat as much as we possibly can. And to do this, we'll be adopting the in-app purchase model for subscriptions, giving you complete power when it comes to marketing your subscriptions and communicating the value of your subscription offering to users, right from within your own application. We're just here to facilitate the purchase. And you can see a mock-up here of what we think the flow might look like once this is out. Users will be able to install the app, as you can see. And once they're inside your app, it's up to you to communicate the value of your subscriptions in your words and in your UI. They'll learn what your sub is about, and from there, they can hit purchase. Once they do, we'll facilitate the purchase and make sure that it is as seamless, secure, and successful as possible. Stay tuned for more on subscriptions ahead of a 2021 drop. And in the meantime, start thinking about how you can evolve your business model or what new sorts of content streams subscriptions really unlocks for your applications. Okay, so we've shared some new ways to prepare, some tips on promotion, and I just mentioned a couple of really exciting drops on the monetization front, arming you with completely new ways for how to up-level as you think about both Quest development and development for our newest device. So before we go, I'd just like to recap a couple of the top takeaways so that you leave here prepared to go conquer. So first up, when it comes to preparation, we heard from Giselle that it is so important to make sure each and every user feels like the world that you created was especially for them. And to do that, you really need to think about diversity, representation, and inclusion. So when it comes to thinking about your test groups or even features within your app, like naming or gestures, consider how you can get a diverse slate of opinions. Next, we heard from Greg about mixed reality capture and just how powerful it can be with respect to helping your users better evaluate whether or not they actually want to get this app. We heard some pretty neat tips and got some pretty neat resources for how to produce these mixed reality trailers and also how to use them within the ecosystem. I then shared some experimental features, some sneak peeks for things that may be coming within this realm of immersion within the store to help users evaluate your applications. And when it comes to off-platform promotion, I talked about a tool called the Marketing Attribution Dashboard that helps you track conversions anywhere on the internet where you might be marketing your application. And finally, as we look forward to 2021, I was so excited to share with you the new distribution channel that we have for you that does not require store approval, as well as a new monetization feature that is subscriptions. And with that, I'd like to close with a big thank you. From Greg, Giselle, and I, we'd like to thank you for making Quest the huge success that it's been. And we are so excited to see how you use everything we've talked about today to really amp up your game for both Quest and our new awesome device coming soon.